अभी भी बच्ची हो, बच्ची। कितनी बार कहा, बड़ी हो गई हो, अभी अपनी जिम्मेदारियों को समझो, लेकिन तुम मेरी बात ही नहीं सुनती।
I do take responsibility.
बिगड़ चुकी हो तुम। और क्योंकि मैं कॉलेज नहीं गई, तुम... शर्म आती है ना तुम्हें मुझ पर? बोलो, शर्म आती है ना तुम्हें अपनी माँ पर?
I've never said that.
First off, this is a very personal story for you, but did you have any apprehensions in kind of exposing yourself and telling such a personal story?
I mean, 100%. I mean, it is, I remember saying this at Sundance too when someone asked if my family knew about the movie, and I was like, no. I made the movie entirely in secret for years. And we shot in Chicago without my family knowing. And when it got into Sundance, the first time my mom heard about it was in the Q&A. I did a FaceTime, and I told her, I made a movie and it's at Sundance, and everyone in the audience wants to say hi. So then I turned the phone around, and everyone said hi. And then, yeah, that was the first time she heard about it. It was in January.
Wow, and then like, did she have a talk with you after?
So the first thing she said after I told her about it, and this was, remember, I'm still at the podium at Sundance. She says, "When are you coming home to see me?" And it was just like so many things were happening. Like I was at the podium, the audience was waiting, and then she was speaking in Urdu, which is my native language, and also in this movie. And I was like, I'm going to be home soon, hopefully. And it was like, goodbye, and then turned it off.
Okay.
And I felt really bad about it, but we have talked about it since, only in so much as there's a movie.
But how was it like for you to, recreate these scenes based on, your experiences in your life and just kind of even just living it out all over again?
So the story started from a really personal place, and then the guiding principle for writing the screenplay was asking myself constantly whether something was emotionally true. So at a certain point, it ended up being less about my life, but it was sort of letting it be Hala's story and her journey, and constantly asking whether it's true to her and true to the family, true to the film. And I think there's a couple of moments in this movie, especially like the clip that you just saw, where things were pulled very much verbatim from my life. And I think that was hard at first, because I think it's one of those things when you see something that's very painful in your life and you're trying to, the inclination is to run away from it. But in the process of writing it and directing it, editing it, it was always about moving closer and closer to that and being able to confront it and confront the pain and the fear. And in a way, it was very therapeutic, because I could, at a certain point, it was just Hala's story, and I was able to put it to bed a little bit. Not to say that I've completely figured things out, but in the process of making it, I started to feel like the things that were challenging for me as a young adult were, things I've sort of reconciled a little bit more now.
And then, we're living in a time here in Hollywood when representation, authentic representation, inclusion, and diversity is like always top of mind, as you probably may know. And then, when it comes to the Asian American community or Asian experience, I think immediately a lot of people think East Asian, right? And then often South Asian representation, even Southeast Asian representation, but here is overlooked. Seeing you are in this position to amplify South Asian narratives, do you feel sort of responsibility to advocate for more opportunities for South Asians and just kind of be this, I don't want to say poster child, but like just be this champion? Like, do you feel this like huge responsibility?
I think for most people from underrepresented backgrounds who are working in film and television, there is this incredible amount of responsibility you feel toward your community and in representing that community in a way that is honest. And that's an incredible burden because we don't approach all storytellers that way, and not all storytellers feel that responsibility. But I think in making this movie, it was very important by the end of it to understand that the South Asian American experience is very varied. And, it's South Asians and Muslims and Pakistani Americans are not monoliths. And I would love to envision a future where there's like 10 or 15 different films at the same time, that are exploring this kind of experience, so that no one of these movies feels that burden of trying to represent everyone, because it's impossible. And I think that that's the challenge of being a filmmaker now, is being able to tell that very specific story to you, even as an individual inside of your group, the larger group that people sort of put you in the category. And I think in making this movie, it was I felt that burden all the time. And, by the end of it, it was understanding that hopefully this will be just one of many movies that sort of explore this experience.